Hi everybody, my name is Jacob Groschmidt. This is Effective Speaking at Stark State. My professor is Professor Judy. Sabrina, can you please pan around our audience to show that we have 5 audience members? Thank you. Today we're going to talk about the Islamic State, or ISIS, or ISIL, if you guys may have heard from the media. I want to really touch on today how ISIS wants to form a worldwide caliphate. And I'm going to kind of explain that as we go forward here. Now I'm going to start off with a quote from Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi. He is the leader of ISIS. Soon, by Allah's permission, a day will come when the Muslim will walk everywhere as master, having honor, being revered, with his head held high and his dignity preserved. Anyone who dares to offend him will be disciplined, and any hand that reaches out to harm him will be cut off. Whoever was sleeping must now be awake. Now that is a quote in the 2015 November issue of Dabiq magazine, ISIS's magazine that they published through their propaganda machine. In that article, Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, he talks about wanting ISIS to be a worldwide caliphate and how he's going to conquer the world and become a worldwide caliphate. That's his dream. That's the Islamic State's dream. Now you guys may be wondering, what is a worldwide caliphate? Okay. Now a worldwide caliphate is a concept of a single one world government as proposed by Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, the leader of ISIS. He's the caliph of ISIS. In 2014, Abu Bakr proclaimed that ISIS is a caliphate after key victories in Iraq. IslamicWorld.net describes what a caliph is in a recent article. As I said, caliph is Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi. He's the caliph of the caliphate. Khalifa is an Arabic word literally meaning one who replaces someone who left or died. Now the English of caliph, is Khalifa, is caliph. That's how we say it in English. Now in the context of Islam, however, the word acquires a narrow meaning. The Muslim Caliphate is a successor to Prophet Muhammad's position as the political, military, and administrative leader to all Muslims. Now, why do I want to talk about this today? Well, myself, I find it concerning to look at the Middle East, see how Iraq, see how Syria have been destabilized by the Islamic State. Now, I served 27 months in Iraq with my fellow soldiers. I've watched men and women die over there for that region, for their freedom, for their liberty. Now, to see that taken away by the Islamic State is very troubling to me. See their people suffering, it's very troubling to me. It's very concerning to me. So, I just want to inform you guys about the dangers of the Islamic State, and that's what we're going to talk about today. Now, the ideology of the Islamic State. David D. Kirkpatrick summarizes ISIS's guidelines in his New York Times article. The leaders of the Islamic State are open and clear about their almost exclusive commitment to the Wahhabi movement of Sunni Islam. Now, Wahhabi, what is that? Wahhabis are ultra-conservative Sunni Muslims. They want to restore a pure monotheistic worship. ISIS follows a radical interpretation of Sunni Islam. ISIS endorses religious violence. Muslims who do not agree with this interpretation of the Quran by ISIS are said to be infidels, or enemies of the Islamic State. Now, how did the Islamic State come to be? Okay, we're going to talk about that next. The Islamic State was founded in 1999 by Abu Musab al-Zarqawi. Now, Zarqawi, he had first named the group Jamaat al-Tawad wal-Jihad. Zarqawi, he led the Islamic State until 2006. From 2003 to 2006, Zarqawi, he led the Islamic State in the Iraqi insurgency against coalition forces in Iraq. In 2004, al-Zarqawi pledged allegiance to Osama bin Laden while fighting the Iraqis and fighting the American forces. He pledged allegiance to Osama bin Laden, and he changed the group's name to Al-Qaeda in Iraq, or AQI. Now, Abu Musab al-Zarqawi was killed in 2006 in a coalition force airstrike. and Abu Omar al-Baghdadi and Abu Ayyub al-Masri took the reins and led the Islamic State until 2010. 1 second, please. Now, these two gentlemen, they led the Islamic State against American forces in Iraq until about 2010. Okay. Now, they were both killed by an Iraqi and U.S.-led operation in northern Baghdad. After they were killed, Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi took over the group. Now, as he took over the group from 2010 to 2014, he helped the Islamic State reclaim territory in Iraq. He helped the group move into Syria. He merged with a group in Syria called the Al-Nusra Front. Excuse me. He helped the Al-Nusra Front gain ground in Syria. Eventually, he combined the Al-Nusra Front with Al-Qaeda in Iraq to form one group, the Islamic State of Iraq. Now, after key victories in 2014 in Iraq, when the Islamic State took over Mosul and Tikrit, Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, he claimed the Islamic State a caliphate. As soon as the group took down Mosul, and they took down Tikrit. Now, how does the Islamic State recruit fighters, and how do they stay relevant and work on becoming a worldwide caliphate? ISIS is using online social media to spread its message and persuade others to join the group. The messages put on social media are used to persuade Muslims to leave their homes, come to the Middle East, and fight in Iraq and Syria. Not just men and women, they want kids, they want everybody to come join their caliphate. Now, efforts are made by groups on Twitter and Facebook to stop the spread of the Islamic State, but Brian Reese, a writer for the Daily Beast, he described in an article called Twitter's Terrorist Policy, when describing how Twitter removes contents of terrorists only to have a new concept pop up soon after. He calls it whack-a-mole. He says Twitter or Facebook, they'll shut down an account, and the next thing you know, the group makes a new account. So they'll shut down that, and it just keeps an ongoing struggle to fight against this propaganda machine. Speaking of the propaganda machine, Al-Hayat is the propaganda machine for ISIS. Lisa Blaker of the University of Maryland wrote an article titled "The Islamic State's Use of Online Social Media." In the article, she states, Al-Hayat continues to produce slick videos that mimic Hollywood action films and music videos and are obviously targeted to young Westerners. It seems ISIS is interested in targeting young individuals who feel disenchanted from their faith or community. Young people from across the globe have joined ISIS in Iraq and Syria. As of September 2015, the CIA has estimated as many as 30,000 people from across the globe have joined the Islamic State. The Global Terrorism Index ranked the nations with the highest numbers of ISIS fighters, foreign fighters. Saudi Arabia and Russia come in at second and third with 2,000 fighters. Tanzania tops the list with 5,000 fighters. Here in the United States, we have sent a total of 180 foreign fighters to Syria and Iraq since 2015. Now, currently, the Islamic State they operate in Iraq and Syria. The capital city of ISIS is Raqqa. It's a northern city in Syria. ISIS lays claim to some of northwestern Iraq and central Syria. A key city controlled by ISIS in northern Iraq is Mosul. They've laid claim to that area since June 2014. Now, ISIS has suffered some losses here in the recent past. In June 2016, ISIS was in control of Fallujah. It's a city west of Baghdad. They just lost that to the Iraqi forces. They were in control of another city just west of Baghdad, Abu Ghraib. They lost that in February. And Ramadi in January 2016, they lost that. So they have seen some of their cities that they took in this war that they've been going against the Iraqi forces. They have lost some ground. Outside of Iraq and Syria, ISIS control territory in Sinai, Afghanistan, and Libya. Islamic militias have pledged allegiance to ISIS in Yemen, Afghanistan, Algeria, Philippines, and Palestine. ISIS's footprint is all over the world, with attacks performed by individuals claiming their allegiance to the Islamic State. Next, we'll talk about their attacks, some of the things that they've done recently. ISIS, they've conducted attacks all over the globe. This year, it's estimated that 760 people have been killed by the Islamic State. The deadliest attack this year just happened on July 3rd in Baghdad, where 292 people were killed in the Karada district. It's in central Baghdad. In the Karada market is where ISIS, they had two suicide bombs and a suicide truck. The one truck was responsible for more than 250 people killed. ISIS issued a statement after that attack. TheGuardian.com summarized the statement. ISIS said it had deliberately targeted Shia Muslims by striking the suburb of Karada on the southern bank of the Tigris River. Also recently, ISIS struck the Ataturk airport in Turkey on June 28th. A total of 45 people perished in that attack, with over 230 people injured. And then on June 10th, here in the United States, a 29-year-old Afghan American who pledged allegiance to ISIS after his attack struck an Orlando nightclub. I'm sure everyone's heard about it. Okay, there's been a lot of controversy about it, but he did pledge allegiance to ISIS after his attack. Now, Omar, he never visited ISIS or anywhere in the Islamic State. He had traveled to the Middle East, but he never went to an ISIS-controlled territory. He was influenced by the propaganda machine of ISIS. So that just shows how dangerous this group can be. They can influence anyone. So I hope in my speech today it has helped you understand the dangers of the Islamic State. ISIS continues to plague the Middle East and is attempting to recruit foreign fighters from all over the world. As I stated earlier, they have been successful at recruiting foreigners from here in the United States. Now, in my introduction, I noted that the Caliph Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi wants to establish a worldwide caliphate. I think it is very important to recognize the dangers of that creed. ISIS has proven that they are a threat with the recent attacks in Iraq, Turkey, and even here in the United States. It is important that we stay vigilant of this brutal organization and as they try and become a denier of world peace. Thank you guys very much. I appreciate it. Thank you.